Hello everyone, my name is Han Xu. It's my pleasure to be here as the presenter for our group, Artists as Translator. I am a new media artist, educator, and graphic designer based in New York and California, and originally from China. I'm currently a lecturer at Pratt Institute in New York. In my own art practice, I am interested in language and communication related topics. My works include installation art, conceptual art, performance, and generative art. It's my great pleasure to attend the China Academy of Art 2020 Young to Young Summer Program. I'm happy to co-teach with my friend and colleague Arthi Akpadi. Arthi is an Indian-American, cross-disciplinary artist, educator, and programmer interested in the poetics and politics of datasets. She works with both personal and institutional archives to explore how identities and history are shaped by different methods of collecting, preserving, and presenting data. Arthi is an adjunct faculty in both Parsons School of Design and Pratt Institute. We were classmates at Parsons and interested in the same kinds of art. We both think about the artist as mediator finding connections between things. Materials can be transformed into new sequence through rule sets by artists. We see this process as translation and view translation as methodology, especially in new media art. After discussion, we decided to name our team Artists as Translator. During our class, we explored how meaning can be embedded in an artwork through creative reinterpretation of information into visual, sounds, and more. One artist developed their own formula for interpretation. A poem can be translated into painting, music can be translated into sculpture, numerical data can be translated into music, and so on. For the lecture part of this course, we mainly divided into two parts. My responsibility was the conceptual part of this topic. Arthi introduced the related tools that might be used for this course. Conceptually, I interpreted the theme translation from four perspectives: synesthesia, language, emotion, body as tools, nature as resources, and data as materials. In the lecture of synesthesia, I separately introduced how artists make art through the transformation of five senses. For example, how artists translate sound into visuals with graphic notations, abstract music, animation, to new media art creation. How artists utilize gustation and olfactory aspects to express their concept, or how artists mute some senses to create eating design experience, and so on. In the lecture of language, emotion, and body as tools, I introduced semiology and art creation based on a current language system or an experimental language system created by artists. Some examples were about how artists translate human emotion into other forms to pursue the beauty of the poetic, and how artists make devices to extend body possibilities and human perceptions. And in the lecture of nature as resources, I showed examples from direct translation using techniques such as land art and bioart, also the artists like David Bowen and William Lamson, and so on. For data as materials, I presented different ways to creatively express data, different forms, and also some examples about how to use machine learning for creative translation. Four related lectures were conducted respectively to explore how to creatively translate information, concept, or data into visual, auditory, or other sensory forms in art creation. Technically, RT introduced three different digital technology tools: P5JS programming, augmented reality AR app Metaverse, and machine learning software Runway. P5JS is a JavaScript library that allows us to use code to create complex animation and interactive graphics. During the P5JS programming tutoring, Arthi introduced basic knowledge of P5JS and how to translate sound into visual using microphone and audio files in P5JS. Arthi also introduced Metaverse, which is a tool to make simple AR interactions. It is a simple way to realize AR applications that doesn't use code like some other softwares such as Unity. Using augmented reality markers, students can create hidden messages that are triggered by real-world objects or graphics. Finally, Runway ML is a machine learning software for creators that brings the power of artificial intelligence to creative projects with an intuitive and simple visual interface. Instead of using Python or other programming language to induce machine learning, we used Runway so that we could focus on teaching concepts around machine learning in a hands-on way that didn't involve a steep learning curve. In teaching machine learning with Runway, we were interested in a translation process where instead of the artist defining the rule sets for interpretation, we are using the machine learning model to define how we reinterpret information. The students' homework mainly divided into three parts. First, individual students practicing technical tools after each tech class. Second, research and present selected artist works before the beginning of each class. And third, starting from the third week, 3 to 4 students formed their own groups, and we commented on or critiqued the results for each group every 2 days. Critiques were made from the perspectives of the topic of interest research, selected topics, concept, objectivity and rationality of the term translation, production and presentation form, and so on. Now, let's have a look at some selected students' work from our class. So the first work I will introduce is called The Taste of Poetry. We can easily understand a poem by watching and reading the content of the poem, but without the help of their intuitive understanding of the poem. Can the ideal senses in the 5 receive something beyond words and language of the poem? Can we smell a poem? Can we taste it? So this group translated poems into dishes in order to try to taste the emotion behind the poem. They matched the narrative objects with the main ingredients, and the emotion in poem with condiments, and verb vocabulary with production process required by a dish, in order to realize the process of translation and complete a new experiments of a poem by using different senses. So the next work I will introduce is called Summer is Not Hot. The memory of summer is not just hot. It should combine with every abstract overall feelings. In this project, they use machine learning to find out what summer really looks like from the perspective of collection of poetry. After selecting nearly 1,000 Chinese poems describing summer as data, a model of Chinese summer poems is generated in the machine learning Runway software. When a title about summer is given, this model will generate summer poems around this title. After that, they selected some generated poems and put them into Runway software's text-generated picture model. This model will generate image based on a text input. And finally, they got a series of machine drawing pictures about summer. And the next project I'm going to show you is called Time During Quarantine. This group interested in visualizing time. They focused on expressing quarantine time during the pandemic. They used photos as their data to visualize information. Each student found their own perspectives to express the time. Li Ruge interested in her self-status in front of the computer. She also used photo to visualize her moving trails in a normal quarantine day. Shu Tong, he took one picture every day for the most beautiful moments of the sky for 100 days during the real pandemic in China. Shu Tong averaged the color and made a book for 100 pages. Another student showed the light trails around a body when doing exercise. And finally, another student collect everyday essential objects from different people during the pandemic. So the next project I'm gonna show you is called Fake and Truth. This group translates the fake and truth from series of events experienced while surfing the internet, using machine learning, P5GS programming, and so on. They created an interactive program, series chart, and an immersive website as a presentation. First, they used machine learning model on runway to translate face with a blank expression into different smiling faces. Second, they used P5GS to divide camera into pieces to form a composite face. Third, they exhibit machine interpretations of different pictures using machine learning. And the last part is an interactive web experience where windows pop up more and more when you hit the search button and finally show your unclear face in front of the camera. Due to the time limit, we briefly talk about the other grade groups. The group called Focus, they thought people have different attention when seeing different content. They're curious about what the attention trail change when listening different music, watching different videos and images. And we also have group translates one traditional oil painting and one modern oil painting into sound to listen the difference. We have the group translate pain into visual. We have the group of visualize the sound of smile in the movie of Joker. And we also have the group translate raining sound into visual, and so on. We appreciated the hard work of each group. We think every group did a great job this summer. It is also a pleasure to work with the other two Chinese professors, Yang Zhiqian and Professor Shu Huai, which gave us a great support. We were also fortunate to have our TA Mao Mengyuan and students leader Hu Yifei, Lei Yangke, Ren Yue, and Ji Yayun. Thank you all for helping us build this course together. And me and Arthi really enjoyed teaching and communicating with these talented and hardworking 50 students from CAA second year during this 1 month. I hope you all have a bright future created by art. Best wishes to everyone. Thank you.